Today I want to try out this type of crochet. I believe it's called filet crochet. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. But like where you do the meshy kind of look with like a pattern or like a picture within the mesh. I found all of these on Pinterest to use as my inspiration. But of course I'm not going to use any patterns that are already made. I'm going to make my own because why would I? Why would I not? I've picked out a few yarns that I think might work. This is quite like a thin, lacy style of crochet. I have this one, which is cotton. This is cotton, actually. They're all cotton. This is more probably what has been used in the reference photos, but I do really like this one, so I'm going to try with this one and then we'll try with this one if it doesn't work. Here is a little graph I found on Pinterest that I want to kind of turn into this style of crochet. Now, as you can see in the back here, I started chaining, but I realized I've not chained enough because the way the graph is, these white gaps are not just like a chain one gap because it has to be the mesh stitch, which a mesh stitch is like, you know, like a double crochet, usually 2 chain stitches and then another double crochet. Like that's what makes up these gaps here, like in the mesh stitch. And I didn't account for that, so I'm going to kind of have to redraw out the pattern from this graph and make it something that looks more like this. Because obviously for one of these white gaps I need 4, but then for the one next to it it'll only be a chain 2 and then a double crochet. So I'm going to have to figure it out. I think the pattern or the graph that I'm looking at is 28 boxes by, I'm not sure how tall it is, I didn't count. So my first calculation was 28 times 2 to account for 2 double crochets per like box, but that's not going to work because there needs to be more stitches than that. So I'm not sure if I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be. I'm going to kind of draw out a section. Maybe I should start with something smaller because this butterfly has quite a few stitches. I found this on Pinterest, which is like a knitting graph, but I thought the flowers were really cute, so maybe I should start with just like one flower and then that's like way less boxes to have to worry about. So I might probably need another piece of paper, but this is 1 to 7, so we'll do 9 because I want like the extra gap on the side of white. By 1, 2, 8, 9. I'll do 9 by 11. So I'll get another piece of paper and figure out how to write it out. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm overcomplicating this, but in my head it seems more complicated than just, because the mesh stitch, like I said, is made up of, like technically it's 3 stitches, isn't it? But the double crochet counts for the next one. Anyway, I'm going to draw up some boxes, and yeah, this is actually going to be way easier than that butterfly. Start small. It's not that complicated, but it is more thinking than I thought I would have to do for this project. So each of my little circles here is like a stitch, and if it's a double crochet, that's 2 circles on top of each other. If it's a chain, it's just 1. Anyway, it's not like proper graph, okay? I'm just trying to figure it out. Okay, so now I'm up to the part where the leaves are starting on the flower, but I think just going 1 row by row should be good. And if I count this, it's going to be way more than 9 stitches, like I originally thought, because it's 9 boxes, but not 9 stitches. So that's 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. The way I've done it is 22 stitches across. I don't understand though. You know what? The solid ones have to be 4 double crochets. So here where I've only got the 2 in the middle, that should be like 4 double crochets. Right? For it to look like solid, because a full mesh stitch is technically four double crochet. Oh my god, okay, hang on, we'll need another piece of paper. Don't know if I'm gonna draw all of this out. Don't mind the bottom, I did the circles way too big. But a mesh stitch is 3 stitches, not 4. Because it's technically 1 double crochet and 2 chains, because the next double crochet is technically part of the next stitch, right? 6 double crochet to make up this first block here, right? I think so. So the initial chain I make will be 27. And considering I was going to do the butterfly, this chain, I had chained like 60, I think. It was just going to take way too long. Okay, so I'm going to restart. I don't think I'm going to draw out the whole graph, because once I get the shape, like the initial shape done, it should be a little bit smoother. Also, I think, see how this flower has this green in the middle? I'm just going to make that like a gap. So I'm going to chain 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 27. Okay, this is going to be much more manageable. Now I'm going to do a single crochet in the back loops of my chain just to create a foundation. I always struggle with this a little bit. Not struggle, but it just takes me ages because it's not as smooth as normal crochet, because you have to find the little back loop. I'm just gonna do this. This is gonna take forever. No, it's not. It's a fun learning experience that I'm sharing with you today. Okay, I finished the single crochets. This is gonna be a tiny little thing. Now I'm gonna follow my fabulous little graph here. I think once I get into it, it'll be easier. So I'm going to do 2 double crochets first. Well, actually I'm going to chain first. A double crochet in the first stitch and then 1 in the second stitch, because I've added an extra 1 from the pattern that I looked at. The graph that I looked at, I mean, because it didn't have like an edge to it. Okay, and then we're going to crochet 2 chains. I hope this is the right number of stitches. So it's a little bit dark and shadowy, unfortunately. Is that a bit better? I hope so. Okay, chain 2, then we're going to skip 2 spaces and then put a double crochet. And I'm going to repeat that again and then again to make our little mesh stitch. I cannot say mesh. I have received some graph paper from my mum, so that might be easier to draw it out. I'm going to see how I go with the first row, and then I might draw it out on the graph paper, because it's definitely a bit more intricate than just like a normal graph, because, I mean, not that I really do graph crochet, because I don't like the process of it, you know, where you do like colour 2 different colours and switch the colours to make a pattern, whatever. I don't like that because I don't know, I just don't like it. Okay, so we need 3 gaps, so that's 2. So 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to do 6 double crochet, but that first one counts. Okay, this looks promising. I think it's going to work. Okay. It should only be 3, shouldn't it? Why have I done 6? It should only be 3. Okay. We need to restart. Hang on. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, we're going to restart. I'm going to draw it up on the graph paper, because clearly it's not clicking. I've done the first row. I don't know why this is confusing me so much. I'm not sure if I got this right. But we're gonna keep going. My little thing. I've been working on this for like an hour and a half so far, and this is all we've got. Okay, I'm gonna go up with the next row, which is exactly the same. So we're gonna do that, and it should be fine. I am just going to do it one row at a time, and I'm not sure if I'll draw it all out on the graph paper, but definitely drawing out the first row like helped me visualize it. But now I'm not sure, because I think this might need to be 4 double crochets, because there would be a gap. Anyway, we'll see. I'll do this row, and then the next row there's a little bit more to work with, so we'll see if it works or if I have to go back and add 1 extra. So I started with 6, now we're down to 3, and it might need to be 4. So we'll see. But like, I like how it's looking. It looks cute, the mesh and then the filled in bit. I'm glad I started with just like something little, and then if I figure it out, I can make one of the tops like in the reference photos. I'm sure like once I figure out the numbers and stuff, it'll be fine. It's just the figuring out how many stitches to a box, because like I said before, it's different to like crocheting the graph with just like 2 colors of yarn, because that is just 1 stitch per box. But this is a bit different because it's like 3 stitches per box, question mark. Does it look like a flower yet? No. I'm gonna get up the graph. Now, next we have 2 gaps, 2 mesh gaps, so I'm gonna do that. I've messed something up. I'm onto the 3rd row, right? And this is kind of how it's looking. So in the graph here, there's these 2 boxes are filled in, but then on the 3rd row, that's a gap and that's a filled in one. I don't have the right number of stitches, because see here, I've made the filled in gap and it's 4 crochet. So after that, I should chain 2 and then have another 4 double crochet, but there's only 1 stitch here in the middle, and that should be 2 to account for my 2 chains. So I'm gonna start again and add 1 more. So I think currently I have 23 stitches. It needs to be 24 stitches. Okay, I'm now at the same point I was just what I showed you before, but now there's 4 stitches in the middle, which is definitely what we needed. So I've just made the solid gap for this green one right here. So then we're going to make a chain gap of 2, right? Yeah, okay. And go into that double crochet, and then we're going to do 2 double crochet into these chain gaps to create the like start of the leaves. And then there's 2 mesh stitches for the end of this row. Also, this is symmetrical. Oh, no, it's not symmetrical. Right, we'll figure it out later. I was just going to say this is symmetrical, so I don't have to worry about like which way is right and left, but we will have to worry about it in a second. Alright. I think we're getting somewhere. That is looking so much better, right? Just look at these bottom 3 rows. I think that's right. Okay, I'm going to do the 4th row, and then we'll figure out which way is right and left. I might just make it symmetrical because that might be easier. But we'll see. There's row 4. We're figuring it out. Now, I am going to do the asymmetricalness, and I'm just going to make the side with the tail, like where I began, the right side, and then this is the left. You know, I'm working front to back. So where the tail is the right. Okay? Okay. So row 5 is a gap. No. Yeah, a gap. So we'll chain 2. Okay, and then we're going to add the 2 double crochets. Well, actually 3 double crochets. Okay, and then we're creating another gap. So we'll chain 2. Okay, there is row 5. I think it's looking correct. Now, row 6 is, like, okay, from row 6 till the finish, they're all the same. So I don't have to worry about which side is the right and left anymore. But, so now I'm working on row 6, which starts with a block. Oh my gosh, my yarn is tangled. This is literally my least favorite part of crocheting. The fact that it gets tangled. Like, it's so annoying trying to work on something and then the yarn is not coming undone because it's all tangled up. Oh my goodness. Okay, hang on. Okay, I added a few extra rows just to make the flower look better because the pattern is obviously a bit, the pattern that I was using was obviously for like a 1-to-1 graph where this is not that, so I switched up a little bit. But now I've just got to do a single crochet across the top to match what I did at the bottom, and then I think I am going to go around with single crochet all the way around the edge as well, just to kind of like finish it off, because I've done like the chains for the double crochet, so it's kind of like wonky on the side. But yeah, that's all I've got left. That's all I've got left to do. I kind of did it a little bit off camera because I was like trying to focus on what I was doing, but it's really turned out cute. I think this yarn is just thin enough. If you did anything thicker, I don't know how well it would translate. So yeah, I'm just going to do the single crochets across the top. So I'm just putting a single crochet in every stitch and chain space. I actually might use that dark pink in the background to do like a shell stitch around the edge, just for something fun. We'll see. Alright, technically that is done, but I might just finish off the edge a little bit. The chain at the bottom is a tiny bit tight, but it should be okay. I mean, you could block it, but I hate blocking stuff, like wet blocking it, so probably not going to bother. And cotton, it doesn't really do much. So I'm going to show you from above so you can kind of see, because from this angle it just looks like a blob. I hung it up on this little hanger to kind of show you better. I don't know, can you tell it's a flower? I think you can. I think if it was a bigger project and it had more flowers, I think it would translate. I don't know, I think it's cute. I don't know if the yarn is thin enough. I think maybe if I was to do it, you'd need thinner yarn, but I don't know, I still think it looks pretty cute. So like, here's one of my inspo pictures. See how it just like pops a little bit more? Like mine, I don't know, it doesn't seem as there, like as prominent, whereas this one seems like the focus is the bees rather than, I don't know. Like I said, maybe it just needs like more space around it, but I think you can tell it looks like a flower. Okay, it's a little bit later, but I finished my little piece. I did a single crochet like all the way around, and then with this darker pink like thread I did a shell stitch all around, and I think it turned out really cute.